Isn't it funny how in life we can sometimes spend so much energy avoiding something because it's really, really painful. And then the circumstances shift, we meet somebody new, they come into our life and change our perspective on things. And suddenly it gives us the permission to open up and talk about it in a different way and go there, if you like. Well, that's exactly what happened for one of the Secret Service officers who was there when JFK was shot. In fact, Clint wrote an amazing story, which I've only just finished reading, and now standing here at the Grassy Knoll, where all of this played out so long ago. It's just been an extraordinary experience for me, not only because I've just had the insight from reading Clint's first-hand account, story, 5 Days in November, an extraordinary read. Not only incredible pictures from right across all the motorcades leading up to that day, but almost a minute-by-minute breakdown, insights into what it was like for him, the decisions he was making, his perspective on the crowd sizes, everything that was going on, and then finally, in almost too much detail, slow motion, what it was like to come around the corner here, and almost how, the crowds had petered out. It wasn't that busy here, and so he could kind of almost relax for a moment. But what happened next, I'm not going to recount it all in detail here, he can do it much better than I can, but the point is, what happened next, he has relived time and time again for decades, beating himself up, thinking, if only I should have done this, blaming himself and carrying a level of guilt that is just, possibly on any level, most people look at that and say, don't beat yourself up, it wasn't your fault. And yet he's carried it for about almost 50 years until he met a journalist who was writing a book, Lisa McCubbin. And I love it at the end of this book that Clint has shared, 5 Days in November, because possibly the highlight for me of all of it, and I love hearing about his connection with JFK and his family and all of that. There's just so much rich insight there. And you can tell that this wasn't just a job for him, he actually cared about the people that he was there to protect. But it's right at the end when he says after spending his whole life blaming himself and carrying so much pain, it was actually when Lisa started to ask him questions. She was researching a whole lot of things with different Secret Service agents and got talking with Clint, and he was the first one on the back of that. He was right there, the closest one, right after the shots were fired. What he saw in her on that day, heard her on that day, and it's just extraordinary the way he's recounted that. And so here, decades later, was Lisa asking him a series of questions that he was not happy to answer because it was so painful. And he says beautifully in the book that it was when he started to open up and share that actually the pain got better. No surprise that they ended up getting married. What a wonderful story. But this is the beauty of sharing the journey with other people, sharing your story with other people. And those of you who've seen what I talk about regularly would not be surprised to hear me say that the value of it in amplifying your impact on the planet to share your story is so worthwhile. And here's a very different take on that idea, because what happened here on this road, it's just extraordinary to think that a sitting president's life was ended. And look, now's not the time to go into all of the conspiracy theories, but all my life growing up, a grassy knoll has never been about grass on the hill. It's always represented the shock and that moment in history when news media was still brand new and live television was wow, what a novelty. And here all of this was being shared in rapid, almost in real time as it happened, in a way that had never happened before. And also then the birth of all of these conspiracy theories, like the grassy knoll and the raised eyebrow. That's all you need to say, and suddenly people understand that you don't really believe the story that you're being told. I was there, a shot fired from the grassy knoll, or was it from up there? And Clint is very clear in his book as well, makes a summary statement there that just is not ambivalent. That's his take on it. That's a conversation perhaps for another day, but this is the power of not holding something back, not holding on, thinking it's going to be so much worse if I speak and if I share my story. For me, that's now a new meaning of the grassy knoll. No longer just about the shock of that moment when an elected representative, the President of the United States, was killed in a very public and graphic way. Not only is the Grassy Knoll now about, as it has been all my life, about conspiracy theories and can we really believe what's being said, but now it's actually, the Grassy Knoll is actually about the opportunity to open up and share your story. Don't let the fear of what might happen hold you back. As Clint will tell you, if he was, he passed in 2025, as he says in his book, there is real freedom in speaking, in letting your story out there. And this is the power of a personal brand. You think about the impact he was able to have since he started telling his story more openly. It was 2009, he met Lisa. They published several books. He's done lots of media which you can access now. It is a wonderful example of somebody who's been vulnerable and given their story, told their story, spoken so openly, that has enabled other people to think differently about their life now, as well as have this insight. So whatever's holding you back, give it some thought. How terrifying can it be to let go, to open up and to tell your story? Your personal brand is worth so much more than the work that you're doing today. Our work doesn't speak for itself. People want to know you so they can like you and trust you, and that will change how they want to interact with you. And so don't make the mistake that I see so many people making, believing their story's not worth sharing, deciding to stay quiet because it's too painful, or they're just afraid, or they're not sure, and then letting other people get all the attention, because no one's got a better perspective on your story. No one can tell your story more effectively than you. So don't let everyone else get all the attention. In business, that has all sorts of other implications for, being beaten to it by competitors and not amplifying your own voice. Again, all of that is ideas that you can unpack with me in other videos here. But I just want to share that with you. That's what Clint's message is for me. That's what the Grassy Knoll now means for me, as well as the other things. This is the opportunity to open up and share your story.